Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So, today I'm going to be talking about no, it's not Prince Harry and Prince George William's son, but Prince Harry and George Soros. So, my title was a little bit clickbaity, but anyways, if anybody comments below and says, "How dare you talk about a child," then you just give them a comment and say, "Watch the damn video. It's not about Prince George." It's about Prince Harry and George Soros. So this interesting article came out recently in the New York Post. I highly recommend the New York Post. They give it to Meghan too. This came out June 8th, 2022. How George Soros's billions are remaking America's justice system. So how much exactly does social justice cost? Now that's an important phrase, right? Because Harry and Meghan are always talking about that social justice, right? Liberal billionaire Soros spent at least $40 million over the last decade to answer that. According to our latest research, those millions helped elect scores of progressive, i.e. socialist, communist, New World Order prosecutors, state prosecutors, in remaking the criminal justice system to Soros's liking. Okay, so that goes through about how all the district attorneys that he's bought out by his, funds here. He uses lots of different companies out of his open society. He has all kinds of PACs, and he uses all different kinds of names here. But anyways, the point is he's paying off to get all these radical district attorneys. So what does that mean? Well, that means that they're in charge of the state prosecutions. So if you're murdered on your way home from work one day, how does your murderer get caught and investigated and sentenced? That's the sole responsibility of the district attorney. So if you're murdered and they catch the murderer, police bring him in, it's up to the district attorney. The police can't press charges and start a court case. Only the district attorney can do that. So if the district attorney is a Soros radical left attorney, he'll say, "Oh, you murdered someone? Oh, don't worry about it. You know what? You can just go. No cash bail, no nothing. Just go ahead." And this has literally been happening. And this is why crime has skyrocketed in New York and Chicago and California. Soros has district attorneys all over the country. It says about 75 Soros-linked district attorneys control a jurisdiction of 72 million Americans, 1 in 5, from Manhattan to Portland, Los Angeles to Philadelphia. Just this year, Soros invested in more DA races, Little Rock, Arkansas, Portland, Maine, etc., etc. Why would he do this? Because George Soros funds BLM and Antifa. So if BLM Antifa is your personal lefty Democrat, army, which is also supported by Biden and Kamala Harris and everything, all these funds they make to bail them out, they're all paid for by George Soros. And they paid for all BLM people to fly them here and there and giving them signs and weapons and everything else. Defund the police was entirely George Soros's campaign with his funds. The censorship online, the fact-checking that was created by George Soros and paid for by him. So he's doing wreaking all kinds of havoc. And he came out in March 2022, and he actually said, Soros, he said that Putin and Xi of China, what did he say here again? He said, "We can only hope that Putin and Xi will be removed from power before they destroy our civilization." Talk about projection. So this Bill O'Reilly is writing, well, this is rich, pun intended. The shadowy currency trader Soros is outraged by two totalitarians. Soros claimed he is promoting, quote, democracy. In the real world, George Soros is sieging America, donating untold millions to destroy the criminal justice system and influence voting patterns. According to Forbes magazine, Soros is worth $8.6 billion and recently pumped $125 million into something called, quote, Democracy PAC, PAC, run by his son Alexander. As you may know, but most Americans don't, George Soros is driving force behind electing far-left prosecutors. He champions their insane soft on crime policies like no bail laws and failure to enforce criminal statutes at all. If you follow the news, the situation is dire. Thousands of Americans have been killed in cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Philadelphia because violent criminals are often not prosecuted by corrupt DAs, many of whom received significant campaign donations from one of George Soros's organizations. So while the radical left is railing against violent foreign leaders, his cash is fueling dangerous American streets. Whether it's open borders, right, the name of his or open society, so he's behind opening the border as well, massive intrusions from homeless drug addicts. He also supports giving drugs and needles to drug addicts to keep them addicted, demonizing the police, right, the defund the police, and a permissive view on narcotics. George Soros and his heavy wallet are on board of the pain train. I have no doubt that Soros wrote his condemnation of Putin and Xi in an attempt to rehabilitate his image in the U.S. and in the media. So he thinks people are going to buy that. You know, he's using PR there. He's saying, how do I redeem myself? Oh, I'll put out a puff piece like Meghan Markle and I'll condemn Xi and Putin, right? The damage this man has done to our society through his, quote, Open Society Foundation is incalculable. And it's all completely legal. His battery of lawyers knows every comma of the nonprofit industry guidelines. Putin and Xi are obviously dangerous to the world, just as Soros is a danger to America. His unlimited money is quietly used to advance the most radical politicians and causes. There is no question about that. Again, few truly understand how pernicious this man really is. I call him the Prince of Darkness, and if you don't believe me, look him up on Google and think about the horrific rise in violent crime, the collapse of civility and public safety, the porous border where migrants and fentanyl pour in on a daily basis while George Soros writes another check. So it is absolutely hideous to see this guy virtue signal over Russian and Chinese dictators. I know what you're doing, George. Bucks instead of bombs, but both agents of destruction. And so what's the connection? So we know that George Soros has his paid for the Ministry of Truth at Aspen Institutes here. The Aspen Institute Ministry of Truth, funded by George Soros and Bill Gates, aims to control all media dialogue. The Aspen Institute Commission on Information Disorder, funded by Soros and Gates, aims to control all media. So they go into that, all the money they put in with the Aspen Institute. An organization called Aspen Institute, backed by tens of millions of dollars from liberal billionaires Bill Gates and George Soros, has launched a commission led by radical liberals to fight mis- and disinformation. And of course, we know that Harry joined the Aspen Institute of Misinformation Commission last year. In this article from Forbes, they thought it was because of Meghan's media struggles. Well, it's partly that, but it's also part of the New World Order, right? And they also Harry and Meghan support BLM, which is funded by George Soros. So you fund these private army of black shirts who have been tearing down our country, and George Soros pays for it all, and George Soros makes sure none of them face any jail time, that they're immediately released. And if you just follow Andy Ngo, for example, on Twitter or Patreon, he has a Patreon, he's on Getter as well. He has multiple examples of people. He keeps track of all the police records and these people who are arrested. And he points out that all the time these people get arrested for violent crimes and they get freed, no cash bail. Here's just one of many, many examples he's given over the years. This Antifa person, Tara Walker, arrested last year for a riot and illegal possession of a firearm, right? So they don't worry about gun laws. They just have their illegal firearms. Resisting arrest, pled guilty to February. Case was dismissed on day of sentencing by the prosecutor, by the Soros prosecutor. And here's another example Pennsylvania intersectional BLM activist and drag queen star arrested in Franklin County, charged with 25 felony counts of child pornography. Bryce Patrick Reichson Williams, aka Anastasia Diamond, was quickly bailed out on a $100K bond by either directly from one of George Soros's places or indirectly. George Soros is behind that, and his DA is behind that, George Soros DA, and allowing somebody with so many felonies to just be freed. So this is how George Soros, with Meghan and Harry, supporting this social justice, which is nothing more than bringing in the New World Order, destroying America and bringing in the New World Order. So again, it's not about Black lives. It's really about, it's about destroying the cities, murdering Americans. They've murdered thousands of Americans. George Soros has so much blood on his hands, and it's for Prince Harry to have had that call with alleged Greta Thunberg, and for Harry to say that about Trump really shows you how evil Harry is, or how stupid he is. But I think he's very evil in what he's doing and who he's involved with. And Harry and Meghan are directly involved with destroying the United States. They are working with, taking money from, and supporting social justice, which is not about social justice. It's about that's what Soros says. Oh, it's about social justice. No, that's changing and destroying our justice system, and making our cities more dangerous, and not prosecuting criminals and allowing BLM to just murder and destroy anyone, anything they want. So this is how George Soros is his army. He's funding this army and keeping them out of jail to murder and destroy more with the help of Harry and Meghan. And they're censoring our freedom of speech. So even just talking about it will get you banned from wherever, right? George Soros has been very good at keeping himself out of the media and to poo-poo anyone who says anything negative about him, because he's got the fact-checking. He funds that. I mean, he funds everything. He's like controlling so much. And if you dare to bring up his name, it's like, oh, you're just a right-wing conspiracy theorist. So that's the derogatory, phrase they try to use to keep you from researching what he's really doing. But these are valid sources here: New York Post and other, Forbes magazine. I mean, it's without a doubt George Soros is funding this destruction, as well as his son, who's also very much involved with this stuff as well, with Harry and Meghan. So I want to know, did Harry, when he came on board with George Soros and his misinformation work at the Aspen Institute, did Harry just do that for money? Because him and Meghan want to be financially independent? And what is his stated goals with George Soros? Is it just to protect Meghan and promote Meghan so she can be president one day? Or is it because Prince Harry wants to destroy America and bring it under the New World Order? Which we know Prince Charles is part of Davos. So it kind of all fits together at the end of the day. So let's take a look. So maybe all this drama you hear about Prince Harry with his father, maybe it's not as bad as we think it is. So let's see, what's Prince Harry really thinking with helping to destroy America with George Soros? Because they've been very effective, right? So what's Prince Harry thinking here in his involvement here with Meghan and BLM and the Aspen Institute? I mean, he's involved and supporting vocally. And I mean, we can see with the Sussex Squad. Sussex Squad is like BLM. If they're not BLM, they're just like them. They're operating the same way. You see, Harry and Meghan are doing the same thing as Soros. They're like secretly funding Sussex Squad, just like Soros secretly funds BLM Antifa, right? And you don't hear anybody talking about the connections there, although some people, like Yankee Wally, discovered the tweets where they admitted they were getting paid from Harry and Meghan, the Sussex Squad. But you don't hear about it that much. Nobody publicly has connected those dots. But you see, Harry and Meghan got that from George Soros. They're like, oh, we can just get like our little BLM Antifa army to attack and deplatform anyone we don't like. Harry and Meghan are doing the same thing. What they're doing online to people is what George Soros is doing in real life to people. Where Harry and Meghan just kill your YouTube account or your Twitter account, George Soros is actually murdering people. He's supporting people and murdering people and destroying their businesses and homes. So they're doing the exact same thing. Harry and Meghan is plagiarizing George Soros and taking his idea and using it for her and Harry. So what is Harry's intentions with George Soros? Does he really want to destroy America here? Is he really that much on board? Is he as evil as they are, or what? Hawk spirit. The hawk. Hawks are predators, for sure. A description of hawk is flying high above the land. Right, Harry and Meghan think they fly so much higher above everyone else. And so does Soros. Soros thinks he's king of the world, right? They're all these egomaniac psychopaths with God complexes or something. So the hawk sees both the big picture and the small details. Doesn't miss anything. So flying high above the world, seeing all the details, big and small, the big picture and the small details. Which is very Virgo, too. But hawks are predators. They are excellent hunters. They eat smaller birds. Yeah. Powerful. I got the hawk feather I found. The hawks. What else? What else is Harry thinking working with George Soros, the most evil man in the world? What is he thinking? Let's see. Scarab beetle spirit. Magic works through you. Scarab. Now, scarab is like in Egyptian times, it was a sign of, a symbol of protection. In ancient Egypt, the scarab beetle was revered for its creative magic. It reminds us that we can bring forth something extraordinary, seemingly out of thin air. Whenever you let your creativity flow, the scarab reminds you that Spirit has given you a gift of infinite potential. Yeah, so, it's interesting because Harry's involvement with all these things with Meghan, the BLM, the Aspen, the misinformation, everything that Harry does seems to come out of thin air like it's just his idea, when we know it wasn't. I mean, we know that Invictus was not his idea. He copied that and probably got the idea from the Bidens or Obama. So I think that he feels like this is going to create his new life. I see this as magic as well. Magic being part of Masonic stuff. Harry with his hand gestures and whatever. So I'm seeing magic here, and so there is a connection here with spiritually with the, it could be the Freemasons or Masons or however you want to look at it. There's a spiritual connection between them in his involvement here, and he feels like this is going to make him fly higher and higher than everyone else, including the royal family, and making this new world order. They're creating a new world order. They're trying to create a new world, whole new world here. So Harry's jumping on this. He's seeing the big picture here, and he's saying, you know what? If I jump on board with George Soros, I could rule the world, move over Prince William and everyone else. So I do see that he is very much on board with this. He sees this as he's creating his new life away from the royal family. And, he's hanging out with the hawks over here. Meghan has instilled in him a lust for power. Meghan can never get enough power, right? It's not enough for her that she went from a nobody, nothing, washed-up actress to, a Duchess of Sussex. I mean, that's phenomenal enough for most people, right? But no, Meghan's not happy. She wants more. And she's got Harry on board with it. So we know that Meghan is the one who's lured him into this. And it's, I believe, all for Meghan's power. She wants more power, and she knows working with George Soros and BLM and the social justice, i.e. destroying the American justice system in order to bring in their new world order, that is what she's about. She wants to be a globalist, a dictator. And George Soros is old like the Queen, but he's sharp as well. And he's got tons of money, and he's got his son on board doing his work now. So even when George Soros croaks, and that's part of the reason why he's being so destructive, because he's only got a few more years to go. He's like, screw it. I'm gonna die soon anyways. Let's do it, right? That's I believe a lot of the attitude of some of these extremists, like Bill Gates as well. He's getting old. He's like, you know, let's do it. If they get arrested and charged, they'll just end up, you know, dying before it reaches court, probably, right? Knight of Cups just flipped out. Yeah, so this whole thing, like I mentioned before, and I tried to do this with the earlier video that I did about the ice cream, explaining why Biden and Pelosi were using ice cream, and I did the video on YouTube, it got taken down, I got blocked from that channel now for 2 weeks for that. And then I tried to do it again, the reading again on Odyssey, and the video got all warped, and you couldn't even listen to it. So there's something about that ice cream, and not to digress here for a minute, but it does tie into this, because the Knight of Cups shows that the way these evil, diabolical people like George Soros and Bill Gates, I mean, look at what Bill Gates did. They pretend to be doing good for society, right? All the language they use, it's always the exact opposite of what they're actually doing. So for Bill Gates is like, here, Africa, here, world, I have these nice vaccines that'll protect you. They're safe and effective. Come on, take it. You'll like it. So they do it pretending to be humanitarians, right? Humanitarians are the words they like to use for themselves, when in reality, they're murderers. But they call themselves humanitarians. So we know, you know, what's going on here. And George Soros, so Bill Gates does it with vaccines. George Soros does it with social justice work. He's helping promote social justice and equity. No, he's destroying the country. He's destroying the world. So they do it under the guise of wanting to help people. And Prince Harry is doing the same thing. He's like, I'm here to help people, support charitable, organizations. Yeah, so they do. So the most evil acts happening today are under the guise of charities, the Archwell Charity, the Travelist. You know, everything's about a charity, but it's nothing about charity. It's about destruction of our free society, our free world, our free country, and the Western world. It's about destroying. So they're doing this under the guise, they're always doing it under the guise of helping humanity. But in fact, they're destroying humanity. So that shows us the evilness of it, the deception of it. As everything that Harry and Meghan do, everything is the exact opposite of what they say. You know? Exact opposite. And Harry's on board with that. And if they're found out and exposed, well, they'll just have you deleted off the internet. They'll use their troops that they secretly pay, whether it's the same kind of people, BLM people, and they'll just take you down with their Christopher Boozies and whatnot, or with Soros, with his district attorneys that he's bought off. They'll make sure that, you know, they send out one of their... So Soros could just send one of his BLM people over, murder someone he doesn't like, and then when that person's arrested, the district attorney will just let him go again. And this has happened. If you look at Andy Ngo's, page, again and again and again, this happens. They don't press charges. They never press charges against Antifa, all that. And this is what George Soros wants for the country, to destroy the country. He's spreading more and more influence here. These people want to bring in the New World Order. And these greedy, it's all greed, because these district attorneys are getting paid almost $1 million each one. I mean, if somebody offers you $1 million, right, very tempting, in exchange for just letting a couple of criminals go, right? It's greed, though. Greed is at the bottom of it. This greed is really the biggest sin here that's helping facilitate, because George Soros wouldn't be able to pay for all this and buy everybody off if the people he was buying off weren't so damn greedy and putting greed above humanity. So greed is a real major sin in all of this, really, in my opinion. So anyways, but what's Harry's motivation here? We know he's doing this under the guise of helping the world and helping humanity and helping the mentally ill, and with this little app where he gets all your personal information and sends it to China, yeah. So what's Harry's real motivation here? We know he wants to be more powerful. Meghan wants to be the most powerful. We know that. Meghan's like power hungry to the extreme. Sun reversed. Destroying there. Flying under the radar there. Queen of Swords reversed. Taking down the royal family. I see this as the queen. Upsetting the queen. Tradition. Traditional ways. Ace of Pentacles. New beginning. Right? The New World Order will have its own new currency, right? Because you'll all be on a digital currency, and you'll be, told what you can have and can't have, and what you can spend and what you can spend it on, and you'll only be able to buy Bill Gates's insect meat and poop water, and you'll be told where you can live, and you won't own anything, and you'll just be happy, or if not, too bad anyways. They don't care. So, yeah, so Harry is very angry at the Queen. He blames her for his mother's death, right? We know that already. So he wants to take down the house here, and he's jumping on board with this. He's like, the royal family hasn't done anything for me. They killed my mother. They don't support my wife. So he's using these excuses, but really he wants that. He wants that new beginning. He doesn't want to be a royal family member anymore, right? He wants to be a king in his own right, King of Wands. Right? He wanted to hang out with Bon Jovi and be a star and be the biggest. He wants to be bigger than his brother. He wants to be king. Yeah, and of course his wife, wants to be. They want to be the biggest stars in the world. They want to be the king and queen of the world. And that nobody should be able to say anything negative about them. You peasants should just shut up because you're not even human as far as they're concerned. You're nothing, nobodies to them. Although they want to pretend like they're here to help you, But at the same time, they couldn't care less. We all know that. They just want their new kingdom here. And Harry and Meghan want to be the stars. Harry wants to play his polo. So I see this is Harry because this is Harry with his polo stick. He wants to be king of polo and play polo all day and have everybody revere him and worship him. And of course, Meghan wants to, like Mao's wife, wants to be a big star and be the big actress here and star in all the movies and be a superhero. Yeah, so it's all selfish power dreams, and of course Meghan also wants to go and be president of the United States. I mean, Meghan wants to be everything, right? She wants to be everything, but she wants more and more power, more and more stardom, more oppression. They want those little people to shut the F up, and if you don't shut up, they'll send over their Suicide Squad either online or in real life. It's a lot of work, but they want to end the way things are. And they're willing to put the work into it. And Harry and Meghan are putting the work into it, for sure. And this is the real reason they left the royal family, to be a part of this. To be a part of this. Judgment. A whole new world. A whole new beginning. Changing judgment, the legal system. Two of Swords reversed. Silencing, murdering, getting away with it. They want to set the rules. And they got George Soros. I mean, the hell, that they've latched on to the diabolical, evil influence of George Soros, who's been working very hard towards this. I mean, he's obviously been manipulating the media for a long time, and he's made a lot of money, and he just loves destroying, He just loves destroying, and just so he can say, I did that. And then because if you destroy, then you got to rebuild. And then that's where George Soros is going to be like, yes, now I control everyone. That's what they want. They want to control. They want to keep the peasants as peasants. They want to go back to the feudalistic days. This is a new world, a new beginning where the peasants can just go work in the field. And Harry and Meghan will be high up on their high horses up here, living a lavish lifestyle like a Chavista. And it'll be like communism. It'll be just like communism, only worse because they're going to be able to track everything you do. And you won't know anything they won't let you know. And you won't learn anything they don't want you to learn. And there's no other way for you to learn it unless they. And they're destroying education systems with a critical race theory nonsense so that these kids are stupid and uneducated. Here we go, the Hierophant revolution here. Going against, and they want to tear down the morals of our society, the Western morals. So that's, of course, the Judeo-Christian beliefs. They want to turn that around. They're bringing their Antifa BLM in, and they want to bring in, Biden is pushing atheism. And, of course, there has been speculation about the God gene and all of that was spoken about in the government. So, yeah, so this is just turning They want to change. They want to take down all the churches. They want to take down anything that represents what's the basis of this country is, and all our freedoms and rights. They want to just destroy all of that for sure. They want to decide. They want to be the gods. George Soros wants to be the god. And of course, Harry and Meghan do too. They want to be worshipped. They want to be treated like gods. And communism is like that. With communism, you don't have religion. You're not allowed to be religious, right? You have to only believe in the government. The government is God. And that's what George Soros wants to be a god. All of them do. All of the World Economic Forum people, Trudeau and Klaus Schwab and Harari, they all think they're gods. And they want to be considered that way. They want to be the ones who created the next generations, so that it makes them the gods. And then if they're the gods, you got to worship them. Yeah, they're colluding, conspiracy, working together here secretively. They couldn't care less about your happiness. Your happiness is the least. They want to oppress people and imprison them. And they're starting out by creating chaos. They're taking away the rule of law. I mean, this is like borders. This is like boundaries. Borders and boundaries. They're taking down the borders, taking down the boundaries. They don't want any borders in the country. They don't want any countries. It's a one world government. And they want to take down all the governments, all the churches, all the belief systems. And of course, the judicial system is very much based on Judeo-Christian beliefs. Like they have to take that down too. And they're going to, collude together secretively, right? I've noticed when I searched Prince Harry and George Soros, you can't find an article of them together. But you can find that Prince Harry works at the Aspen Institute, and you can find that George Soros funds the Aspen Institute, but you can't get, in one article that Prince Harry works at Aspen Institute funded by George Soros. Like you won't see both their names in one article, and I don't think that's a coincidence. See, they're doing these clever things to try to separate themselves. But if you know and you look for it, you know. But if you don't know, you wouldn't notice it. You know what I mean? It would take a while to figure it out. And that's intentional. So they do all these little slippery things on the internet even when they do present the truth. Right? Because they want to brag about what they're doing. They're very proud of themselves. And they want credit for it later, right? Four of Wands reversed. They want to take away any celebrations here, any national holidays. You notice how they want to destroy 4th of July or Independence Day, whatever you want. They want to take that all down. They want you to celebrate Juneteenth instead and whatever other holidays they make up. They want Tranny Day or whatever. 5 of Wands, of course, I see this as their army, their little insect army, a Sussex Squad and BLM and Antifa. 4 of Wands can also be seen taking down stability as well. Taking away people's happiness and stability, and they're taking away their property. Because don't forget, this is a communist ideology, so they want to take away everybody's private property. Queen of Pentacles, yeah, Meghan wants money, money, money. 6 of Cups, and they want their children to be princes and princesses of America, like Queen of Cups, Princess Diana. So also using that as the inspiration. I'm sure if Harry gets what he wants with George Soros, I'm sure he'll probably remember one of the first things Harry and Meghan did when they went to California during the COVID pandemic. They went to that elementary school and they made all these little kids in Los Angeles plant flowers with them for Princess Diana's birthday or her anniversary of her death, I think. It's like, what do little kids in Los Angeles care about your mother, Harry? They don't care. They don't know her. She's done nothing for them. Right? It would have been appropriate if Harry and Meghan had their children planting flowers, but oh, no. They're not going to show their children, right? So, but Harry wants everybody to worship his mother. He thinks that, Americans felt bad. That she was popular because she was always in the cover of the magazine. She was smart with the PR. So she was always in the cover of People and, Us Magazine, all the tabloids had her on the cover. And you know what? That's the only reason anyone paid any attention to her, because of the tabloids. They put her on there, and that's why people missed her so much and were very nice about her death and caring about it and gave condolences. But let me tell you something, Harry. People don't really give a fuck about her, pardon my French, and they don't give a fuck about you. We hate you. And I just see Harry thinking that he has a right to come here and do this crap with his mother's memory and try to shove it on Americans, as he calls everybody global citizens. Right? You're not Americans, you're global citizens, right? So they're pushing that. They're pushing this agenda very sneaky. They're very sneaky about it, but it's also in your face. And this is typical globalist. It's creating this new world order, and they're doing it little by little, detail by detail. But if you put it all together, what they've been doing with their BLM activities, their social justice activities, their globalist, global citizen activities, it all adds up to the same thing. It's all different pieces of the same pie. So yeah, so Harry's all on board. He thinks that this is just the way it should be. And he's 100% behind it. Will they allow him? Bill Gates, are they going to succeed in this? How about that? Because Bill Gates is being prosecuted now in India, thank goodness. And George Soros needs to be prosecuted. Oh, 10 of Cups reversed. Not a happy ending. Yeah, this is completion, and this is failure to complete. A lot of unhappy. Well, he's going to make everybody very unhappy first. There's going to be a lot of tears, a lot of death, a lot of destruction, a lot of people harmed and upset and depressed, all because of Harry and George Soros and everything they're doing, all the lives they're destroying. Eight of Swords. Ooh, I see prison. I got this before with Meghan. I saw her go to prison, too. Well, I see the same thing for Harry. Harry's facing prison time here. For sure. So he's going to cause a lot of destruction and harm and upset people. But in the long term, he's going to end up in the same place as George Soros and Bill Gates, in prison where they belong. So that is what I see. So I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.